Hello, we'll wait a couple minutes before we get started so everybody can join.
Ryan, can you see me? No?
I can hear you. I can't see you.
Yes, sí.
Oh, I can see you.
Yeah, I can hear you. I can't see you though.
No.
Bueno, me voy a seguir cuando empieces.
Okay.
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 Bueno, nos deja ahí encargar.
Déjame ver. Yo creo que bueno, pero si la pongo allá no todo el mundo va a ver. Aquí todo el mundo habla español, ¿verdad? Yeah. So if I make comments, he doesn't speak in Spanish.
Aquí en Estados Unidos, si hay una reunión, son todos americanos y hay un latino, ellos hablan americano. Pero cuando hay una reunión todos latinos y hay un americano, hay que hablar americano. Hay que hacer el país de ellos. Yo nunca estoy de acuerdo con eso, pero el país de ellos. No, que aprenden en español, como nos dicen, aprenden inglés. No, y como yo tengo y como yo en Puerto Rico, ellos van y yo tengo que estar hablando de inglés.
Aprendan español.
Pero el
Yo no le cuento ese
Brian, I'm asking Aaron, he's the host for today's training, if he can hear me. I'm texting him. So we're waiting on that. I know you cannot see us, but we can see you. I don't know why. Is that okay with you?
You know, not a big deal. I hear you loud and clear. I just can't see. I don't see you. The only one I see is me.
Well, we have here a, I don't know, have you met any of the Orlando drivers so far?
No, I don't believe so. I think the only other driver I've met is I met Nate for the first time the other night.
Oh, Nate is on his way here, but we have here Tomas. We have Ian. He's helping today. He's not a driver. We have Javier. He most likely work the over-the-road runs. Jose, over the road as well. Maybe that's why you haven't seen them. We have Nathan. Nathan, like over the road and local, but it's down here in Orlando. Have you ever been local going to Ocala? No? So you haven't met yet. Then we have Wilhelm. He does everything too. He does local and over the road. Amado does over the road, and Flavio does both. Huh? Local. Oh, sorry, local. But here in Orlando.
Sounds like we got a full house.
Yes.
Good deal.
As I said, Nate is on his way. They can see the computer, but I am not sure. And I've left the system at home, the audio system at home. So I'm gonna put the audio
Through your phone?
yeah, as high as I can. I have it in the computer, so they cannot see you either. I thought it would show a video. That was my understanding.
Yeah, we was gonna show. Oh, sorry. We were gonna show like not so much a video, but the ability for when we were talking to show. But I think Sue and David they're getting on right now, but I don't think they're set up for the video setup. So I'll have to get with them on that afterwards. But I did want to cover a few things in regards to the app, so I could definitely show that. So we'll share our screens and stuff like that since we're on a computer. But how's everything going? I know it's peak season. Has it been a little crazy so far?
Say yay, peak season.
Just a little bit. All right.
I just passed the agenda. Let me see, Brian. I'm gonna send an agenda for you to your email so you can have one, okay?
Sure.
That way you will see what we're seeing here. Brian, it's a local for Ocala.
Okay.
Brian, you can wave and say hi while we wait for Sue and Aaron. I mean.
So I'm curious, how many people was able to download the app, and those who haven't?
Wait, what?
I have the app. We're talking about the.
Oh, the new one, yeah.
You have it?
Two.
You have it, Amado. I know that you show it to me.
Yes, I had the app and was continuing with the arrow.
Oh, it's still giving me the error. Flavio needs help with his password.
I can log in. What is it? Attended?
So you said you can log in, but you can't.
Like we can do like not training, nothing like that.
Okay, does it take you to the home screen?
Oh, they said they cannot do a training.
I received a new one.
Oh, okay.
You did? So some of them has been able to do something, others haven't. Jose, was you able to solve the issue the other day, the login?
Oh, yeah, it works now.
Hi, Dave Jackson here. DJ.
Tú lo tienes, Javier. Do you have it? Y tú trabajaste. So all of them has it. Some of them are having issues finding the trainings.
Okay.
Trainings, and then Flavio has an issue with the password.
Okay. Definitely troubleshoot those things, and then for reset passwords, we can always take care of that as well. I want to show just for conversation purposes. Let me share my screen here. Everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So it should be like a Word document that's up right now and has a screenshot. So if those who haven't logged into the app yet, in this first section is the company. So for you guys, for Lugmo Corp. And then the driver ID will be your FedEx ID. And then the password will be the TIN password that you were provided. So if your TIN password, for whatever reason, is not working, you can shoot me an email, a text, phone call, and reset that password and we can get you logged in. All right. Once you log in and you select the training section on the menu, it'll log you into this compliance solution. The training here. Can you mute your line or mute your on your side?
Oh yes, I'm sorry.
Hard to hear with everyone.
I think if I mute you, then we cannot hear you. Right?
No, just mute your microphone so it won't be as loud when you guys are talking.
Technician.
Yeah.
Get the technician in there to work on it.
There we go. And then just hit unmute when you guys want to talk. So when you log into the training section, all your training sessions will be listed out. This is just a screenshot of a demo. You just click on the session and then the content will appear. There'll be like today's session is a video. It's about 2 or 3 minute long video. And you just click on that and it will appear. And then you can, once you review it, then you can hit acknowledge or hit complete and then acknowledge that you completed the session. The acknowledgement will appear in terms of confirmed session. That'll pop up and then you just hit yes. And then at the bottom here, this red complete button will change to a timestamp of the date and time that you completed this particular session. And that's how you know you got credit for it. So real simple. If you have an Android phone, your session will appear here as well. But when you go in to complete the actual session, the red complete button won't pop up for a minute. So you have to be inside this session for 1 minute, then this red complete button will come up. You select the complete button, then hit yes to confirm session. We program that way just because there's so many different types of Android phones. And on most of the Android phones, at the bottom of their screens, there's a black strip there that was covering our complete button. So we put on a timer to appear after the user's already inside the session. So don't get alarmed when you go in and you're like, I can't complete it, because if you have an Android phone, it takes 1 minute while you're inside the session for that red complete button to appear. And then, yep. So just to kind of clarify that on iPhones, once you scroll down to the bottom of the session after you've reviewed all the content and watched the videos or just read the content, then the red complete button will be there. You can hit that as well. All right. Any questions? I know we have some login issues. We can get those resolved. Any other questions in regards to completing these on the app? Any sessions?
You guys have any question about the login?
Yeah, yes, my thing continue.
Yeah, Flavio still, I think it's his password, because I even try it and he tried it now and it's not working. So in his case, it's just a password. And then he'll be able to look at some of the trainings.
Okay, perfect. So what I'll do is I'll reset the password for him. It's real simple, and then I'll send it over to you, and then you can try it there.
Okay, sounds good.
I'll make a note for Flavio. What's your last name? I'm sorry.
Cáceres.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
What is it?
Cáceres.
So when it's completed, it says attended at the bottom.
Yes.
You just read it, complete it, say yes, no, that.
I did it all right.
Yeah, I just did one.
No, I did them all.
Oh,
Yeah, es rápido.
We're almost done.
Muchas de las personas ni que están mirando el video, son cosas que son.
So I'll get that information over to you afterwards, and then we'll be good to go. And then what we'll be doing, so just for FYI, I also have a few staff members on my team, Jessica Munoz, Nancy Munoz, and Aurora Sanders. So sometimes you'll be hearing from them as well in regards to the training session, especially if anyone gets behind, one of them will call you just to kind of go over the content or go over any technical issues you might have, and we can help keep you current, because that's one of our objectives as well, is to make sure that these sessions come out weekly. Essentially, you have a week to do it. We just want to make sure everyone stays current and good to go. As you know, as part of the FedEx kind of contract that they have, all the drivers have to be current with their training. So in the event that a driver gets into an accident, we have to provide that report to the third-party company to confirm that all the training was completed. So that's one of the aspects of the safety culture that we want to talk about. It's important for you guys to receive information, updated information on safety. Safety, a lot of it is personal in terms of how you view your abilities to control situations around you, but also it's an education portion of it.
I do have a question. You hear me?
Espérate. Let me see. Hold on.
arriba.
Yeah, he can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Because I do have a question. I did them all, and then all of a sudden this morning, one popped out that was due on the 7th, and it just popped out this morning.
It's due on the 7th, because I know I sent it out this morning for the new week. So every Monday a new one will come out.
I said December 3rd, due to the 7th. And it's got a red line, it's red already. I got 3 like that. They came in late.
Aaron, can we say that with today's meeting, are we going to be able to put them like in compliance with those trainings? I think that was our last conversation, if I'm not mistaken.
To compliant.
Did he answer?
No.
Oh, this one was no questions, just reading, and that was it. Okay, I'm done now.
What's on this week?
No, dice que era para el día 7 y yo lo recibí esta mañana. Yo lo leí, vi el video esta mañana.
Xenia, can you guys hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay. Maybe I just muted the line. I think they're still on. So, but yeah, if there's any technical issues with the app, that drivers may be running into, they can just reach out to us, offline, I guess, and it'll be probably easier for the group. But I do want to kind of just transition into kind of the purpose of these calls. And once a month, we'll be getting together to be able to discuss safety, discuss some relevant information and content that's going on in the industry. We also have on the call David and Sue Jackson. Information that they have, a lot of years of experience, and are great of mine that will help us. David and Sue, are you guys on?
Yeah, we're here.
Okay. Hey, Xenia.
Yes.
Can you mute your line? David and Sue are going to present here in regards to the safety culture and the information that they have, and then we can take some questions and answers afterwards.
Okay.
All right, Dave, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Floor is yours.
Okay. Creating safety comes from the top. It is relating to the drivers that this is to the team and important management. It's a daily thing. It has to be refreshed every day. We get safety messages from FedEx, and it comes over the phone. I will record them on my phone and then send them back directly to each of the drivers on their cell phones. But the culture is in everything you do and everything you say. When drivers go out, it is drive safely. That's the last comment that's made. They need to understand that safety is not a thing you do, it is what you are. It's not a practice, it's part of you. And that's only conveyed from the top, how that happens. There's a couple of ways to relate safety to the drivers. One of them is that they made a pledge to their family members. There's an expectation of family members that they're going to come home and that they're going to be safe and nothing's going to happen to them. And that's the promise that they're going to keep to the family. The second part of that is that they have a relationship with everybody in the company. That relationship is part of your team effort, and you are being safe because you're protecting the company and other drivers. One of the things that I relate to is, as I tell all the drivers, what you do, because we're not a large company, what you do affects everybody in the company. And I will give examples of that. How scheduling, who does what, when and where, and that is affected if somebody's not there because they've had an accident or the equipment's not available because there's been an accident. That affects everybody else. So you have two possibilities. One is to their families particularly, and to the company family in specifics. That what they do and how they do it is all about safety. And that has to be reminded, again, daily. In conversations, you can ask questions. When you have a driver talk to you, it's how are you doing today with safety? Where is your head about it? What are you doing? And ask the question, what are you doing to stay safe? Because a lot of times they think about other people being safe, but not really themselves. They will do things without thinking about it that aren't safe because they're not really thinking about the effect on them. Effect on other people outside the company is a lower priority, but that's a possibility too. I can mention that what you do can affect another whole family. And if your family was in that vehicle that you are approaching or is passing or coming on to the ramp. If your family was in that, how would you want that truck to respond to that? So that's how safety culture is created. It's constant reminders of how the effect of what happens if it's not followed on their family, on the company family, and possibly on other families out there. Anything else? Any questions?
Hi, this is Susie Jackson here. I would like to share a philosophy that we have incorporated into our business all these decades, and that is the philosophy of our drivers being knights of the road. When I was young, and I'm in my 60s, my parents always told me when I started to drive, if you have an issue, find a truck driver. Because truck drivers were the professionals and the honest, skilled folks out there that my parents felt me safe with as a young woman on the road. And we have always encouraged our drivers to take pride in their appearance, in their equipment, and in the job they do out there with the general public, of which safety is a huge part. If our drivers are being encouraged to open doors for someone at a truck stop, or for instance, we are members of Truckers Against Trafficking. Our drivers report suspicious activity of young people they may see at truck stops that may be forced into trafficking. They're partnered with schools as they travel around the country to share postcards with classrooms. Sometimes we have taken our trucks with the drivers that are interested to elementary schools for the kids to actually see the trucks. The more involved the drivers are and the more invested they are in the company, the more we have found safety is important to them because it directly reflects on their reputation out in the world. Does anyone have any question about those programs? Hello?
No questions here.
Okay.
Can you guys speak to some of the challenges that you've seen, or some best practices on how we can deal with driving in construction zones and also maybe even pre-trip inspections and why those things are important, not only to the driver but to the company as well?
One of the things I'd like to speak to in terms of construction is the FMCSA has a wonderful website called the Cone Zone, and they have little quizzes that you can do with your drivers about driving in construction, and we use Cone Zone educational materials that you can request from the FMCSA. So that's how we handle one of the things we do for driving in construction. And that's also a yearly thing. And we also check their routes regularly on the dedicated runs to see what states are having construction where, so that before the drivers go out, we can say, listen, there's supposed to be construction in New Mexico on the 40 during these mile markers. Be aware of it. So we work to be proactive to let the drivers know where scheduled road maintenance is taking place.
Gotcha. I think that's important too. Like you mentioned, just a lot of what goes on is planning ahead. And, before you dispatch it, just like you check the weather reports before you go across country, or even sometime even locally, just looking for updated construction areas that can help with potential hazards that could occur or potential incidents that could occur.
David's going to take over pre-trip, but one of the things that we have done in the past is we go into our terminal safety manager, and they will come out and do a pre-trip training with our drivers. which has a separate impact from what we do. The other thing is our local California Highway Patrol, with enough notice, will come out and do pre-trip training with drivers. That also has impact. It just has impact coming from people other than us, in addition to us.
Yeah, I want to add a little thing like that too. It is like children don't listen to their parents, but they will listen to an aunt or an uncle or someone outside the family for some reason. And I don't know the philosophy or the psychology behind that, but the more people that you have that come in and make a presentation or talk to them, the more they begin to understand that it's more than just you, but just doing it. Many accidents can be prevented from a pre-trip inspection. You see things that get caught that can be affected on the road, your turn signals, your lights, your brakes. Many times trucks have a air leak. Well, the law in California is that you can't have more than 3 pounds, you can't lose more than 3 pounds a minute of air. So that has to be checked by applying your brakes and seeing where you have leaks, those kinds of things. But that's prevention. Post-trip is also necessary because at the end of the trip, those things that may be wrong get caught so they can be repaired, so that if you have someone else getting into the vehicle the next day, it can be repaired in time to go back out again. But the more inspections that are possible, the better the safety record. I think FedEx has had, in a year, they had 230 disconnects in the line haul department. That's almost one every other day, where the trailers either come loose from the con gear or from the tractor because they're not checked to see that their connection is good. We have FedEx is starting now to have lights put on the con gear so that you will know directly if it's connected or not. But we provide our drivers with high intensity flashlights. So they are to go, every time they hook up, they go underneath and they check to make sure that the kingpin is enclosed and it's not going to come loose. And that there are chains, even in the yard, there are chains on the con gear to the back of the truck. I noticed the other day there was a driver who was new who had we have D-rings that are attached to the back of the railing of the truck. But the railing has to be reinforced, and the D-rings have to be of a certain weight and size. Well, he had these little things on the back that were bolted on, but they still were not sufficient. I've seen videos of the con gear as the truck is driving around the yard that came off and rolls through the through the fuel island as the driver was making a turn. So those kinds of things are need to be inspected to make sure everything is working correctly. Any other questions?
How should we handle when we do a pre-trip inspection in the morning or before our trip, and say a light goes out and we weren't aware until we were pulled over or it was inside of scales, and the CHP may have, or the highway patrol or law enforcement noticed that? How should that be handled in terms of while I'm out there on the route?
Out on the route, I'm assuming that you take a break. So at some point, you get out. You have to do if you're doing line haul, you have to do your half-hour break. But at some point, you should be taking breaks anyway. You shouldn't be sitting in the truck for a solid 8 hours. You should be getting out just for a couple of minutes, if nothing else, at a rest area or rest stop. Always check. Go do while you're out exercising and refreshing. walk around the truck again. The other thing is when you go through a truck stop, let's say necessarily, and you get out for fuel, and you or you have a meal there or any kind of it, you should inspect your truck again. I've heard stories of people who will just go pull your kingpin lock, which is kind of dangerous, but people can do that. Every time you get out of the truck, or every time you when you get back into the truck, do a walk around. Simple as that. If it goes out while you're on the road, there's not much else you could do. But every time you get out of the truck, check it. Now, you don't have to do a full inspection, but you can make sure your kingpin arm that locks in the kingpin, that it's all the way in and not going to flop out. Make sure your chains are on, and then check your lighting. You put your flashers on, and you check for all your lighting to make sure everything is working fine. Now, there's another thing that's required that a lot of people don't really pay attention to. There are two things. One is your windshield wipers have to work, and your window defogger has to work. Those things need to be part of the pre-trip as well. I've seen people not do that, not check that their windshield wipers are working, and they get out there and it's like, oops, wait, windshield wipers, they're not good. But those need to be inspected as well, and your window defogger has to work. That's law. So those kind of things need to be added to your pre-trip if they're not part of the pre-trip. And I've seen drivers not really pay attention too much to that, especially in the summertime. It's like, I don't need to have my window on, but if you get inspected, whoever inspects you is gonna look for that. But that's the only thing you can do is on the road is to just check every time you get out of the truck.
If another thing that's really important is if you have butt heads, if you have meet and swap runs at all, or if you're doing a recovery, don't assume that the team that you're picking those trailers up from have done a proper post-check or pre-trip. Do it yourself, because if something happens, it's on you. Even if it was existing at the time you took those trailers over.
That's definitely a great point. Any other, Xenia, any other questions, or Brian, or anyone questions from in the room?
No questions.
Okay. Yeah, I think some good things to cover. We're coming up on almost 40 minutes. I know you guys are getting ready to start your day or your week. Be careful out there. I know we've had a few little incidents in the last week or two. Stay sharp, and we appreciate you guys' time and attention. Like I said, if you have any technical issues with getting on the app, we'll reach out to you, and we'll get those all squared away for you guys.
I'm actually I was trying to log in here while we were talking, and I think I may have, they gave me an initial password, and I logged in when I downloaded it a week or two ago. But now I can't get in there, and I don't remember if it made me change my password or what the deal is.
Yeah, so that temp password, once you put that temp password in, once you log in and you'll change the password, then it'll be whatever password you changed it to. But if you can't remember that, we can still reset it again and go through that process.
Yeah, I think that's what we need to do, because I don't remember what the hell I changed it to. I can't.
Gotcha. And just remember, with the password, it's 6 characters. It could be all numbers. It could be all letters. It could be whatever you want. So I'm not saying how you should do your password, but in terms of what I've seen, some people just use like their FedEx ID. Some people use a phone number, an address, something very common. So just pick something that you can remember. But like I said, we can always reset for you guys. And Brian, I'll send it over to you.
Okay, appreciate it.
No problem. All right, we thank you so much, everyone. We'll meet again next month.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay. El propósito es, did you, Brian, thank you for your time. We talk later, okay?
All right, no problem.
Bye.